Good morning. Can you tell me about the ticket options, please?
Certainly. We've got various options, depending on whether you want to just visit parts of the exhibition or all of it. It's organised into various different sections, and because it's so large, you may not be interested in everything or have time for everything. You can buy tickets just for the sections you want to visit, and that makes it a lot cheaper.
Well, I've really come here to see things to do with electronics.
Right. Then I think you'll find the first part of the exhibition as you go in is quite relevant. It's all about electronics and how we can use them to protect the world around us. You know, the environment, and what we can do to avoid damaging it further.
Protecting the environment. That sounds interesting. Anything I should specially look out for there?
There are lots of new devices. One which fascinated me when I went round was a new instrument for measuring how the temperature of the ocean changes at different levels. And this can be done from a ship on the surface right down to the bottom.
Great. I'll look out for that.
Okay, and I see you've got your son with you, which is nice because the subject of the next section is all about different things for keeping an eye on your children and looking after their safety. It contains a range of things, from electronic instruments used in medicine to children's electronic games, and even a number of new devices to prevent children from having an accident when they're at home.
That sounds useful.
Yes. There's even an invention for older children. You'll see a demonstration of it while you're there, which helps parents to make sure their kids are going to school. Really useful in families where both parents work. It sort of electronically tells parents about their kids' attendance and sends them a signal via the internet.
Very convenient, but my son is a bit young to worry about that yet. Are there any other sections which feature electronics?
Sure. There's another section. It's the third you come to, I think, which should interest everyone. It contains lots of new electronic instruments or devices for looking after and working with money. You know, like that thing you must have heard of, which counts what you're putting into your supermarket trolley and adds up the bill as you go around.
Right, money. That sounds interesting too. Well, thanks for the information. I'd like tickets for myself and my son for those 3 sections then, please.
Okay, so have you got the answers?
Track 22, Unit 4.
Okay.
Number 1, I think I have protecting the environment.
No, you see, after 2, we always use present form of verb. So number 1 is to protect the environment, not protecting. So that would be protect. And number 2,
I think I have
checking.
Instruments.
No. One new device. Device itself, the instrument.
Checking.
To protect. Environment. Checking ocean's temperature.
Oh, oceans. Okay.
Oceans. Third one is?
The third one, safety.
And their safety, yes, correct. And avoid
an accident.
Accident. And is already written there, so we'll write only accident. Children at. Second, if the other children at. No, attendance. So at school, they are talking about taking attendance, a device for the attendance.
Cool. Okay.
School. And finally, the last one.
Money.
Yeah, money. Correct.
Excuse me.
Yes?
Before you go through, I wonder if you could help us by answering a few questions for a survey. It won't take long.
No problem. We're not in any hurry.
Fine, thanks. Now, let's look at the questions.
Okay.
Here they are. First one. Why are you visiting the exhibition?
Well, I want to keep up with the latest developments in electronics, you know. I was recommended by a friend to come here and see what new devices and inventions are coming out and learn a bit. I mean, I don't generally go shopping for new electronics. I'm not the sort of person who goes out and buys all the latest gadgets. The prices are too high when they're new. But it interests me. And I thought also there would be things which would interest my son, and he'd enjoy it as well. So that's why we're here.
Okay. And here's a question to find out what sort of consumer you are. Have you bought any electronics recently?
Recently? Sure. I was thinking of buying a new calculator for the office, but I decided it wasn't really necessary because I can do all the calculations just as easily on a computer. Anyway, I got a new laptop recently because, you know, they have so many applications and they don't take up much space either. Better to have lots of things on the same device, I think. The other thing I bought was a present for my husband's birthday. I thought it would be nice to have a record of our holidays, so I bought him a camera, and I'm hoping to get him more interested in photography. I'm not very keen on the sort of pictures you can take with a mobile phone, you see. I think it's better to go for higher quality.
Right. And here's a question about this building. I know you haven't had a chance to look around a lot yet, but at first sight, what do you think of it?
Oh, it looks pretty good to me. It's got lots of natural light, so you don't have to put up with lots of electric lighting, which can be quite tiring on the eyes. It feels very large and spacious, which is great, because although it's full of activity and quite noisy, it doesn't feel too crowded. Also, when you look up at the ceiling near the entrance with the design of stars and planets on it, that's something I really like. I'm not so keen on those revolving doors, though. I always feel I'm going to get stuck in one.
And did you have any difficulties getting to the exhibition?
Well, coming at this time of day, the roads weren't too busy, so that was all right. And there were plenty of signposts, so the car park was easy to find. The only problem was it was full when I arrived. I guess I should have come earlier, so I had to find another one, quite a long walk away, which was a pity. Then we had to stand outside for quite a long time queuing to get in. This exhibition is pretty popular. That was a bit of a problem, because my son gets impatient. But fortunately, it wasn't raining. Otherwise, we might have gone home.
Okay.
Track 23.
So that's the end of the audio. So have you found the answers?
Yeah, for question 7, that's A and
Okay. So, no, not A and E. So B. So she was referred by a friend, but she is here in the exhibition not to meet a friend, to improve her knowledge. You know, she is kind of interested in different kind of things, what are the things happening, and also she might find something like for her child, to like entertain her child.
Yeah, I got that one. I got it correctly.
Okay. And here, the other two, she bought a device,
Digital
a
record.
laptop, laptop. That means a computer, and
A digital recorder, E.
yes, a digital camera. No, not a digital recorder. She bought a digital camera.
Oh, okay.
So digital camera means camera. Okay. So these two are the answers. And how about these two? Aina likes the design of the building. What she likes?
She likes the space,
Yes, very good. The space.
and she likes the ceiling.
Yes, perfect. Ceiling near the entrance. So not the entrance. Entrance had a like a revolving door. She really hates it. But the ceiling she loved. Yes. And the last?
But waiting to enter the exhibition, D.
The waiting to problems. Yes, waiting to enter the exhibition. It was a long standing queue.
And also parking the car.
Yes. Parking the car. Okay. She talked about finding the car park. Okay. Car park was easy, but but it was already fully packed. So she had to like look around parking space. Okay, that's good.
Okay, the films which are on today are being shown at different times. They're also about some amazing subjects. Let me tell you a little bit about them. The first one is called The Secrets of the Nile and starts in half an hour at 10 o'clock. It's a beautiful film and it tells the story of the journey that was made down the River Nile for the very first time, starting in the mountains of Ethiopia and passing through the Sudan and Egypt before reaching the Mediterranean Sea. You'll accompany the travellers as they explore some of Africa's truly amazing landscapes. The second film moves off land and into the sea. It's called Wild Ocean. And this one begins at 11:45. So you have some time to look round the museum first if you choose this title. In this film, you'll join the huge number of fish and other animals that live far down near the bottom of the sea. You'll see them search for food, migrate, and fight for survival. Dinosaurs Alive is the third film showing today. It starts at 1:45 p.m. and runs for just 30 minutes. This is a film for people who like special effects because there are plenty of them. Scientists now have a lot of evidence to show that some animals from the dinosaur family are still living on Earth. So in this film, you'll live with a new species of dinosaur that has been recreated using computers. Our final film today is simply titled Arabia. It starts at 2:30 and is a little longer than the others, but it's a really wonderful experience. You'll ride through the desert on a camel. You'll also dive among the treasures of the Red Sea, where you'll explore the ruins of an amazing lost city.
That's right.
Well, these are all magical experiences, so I'll let you decide what you want to see. If anyone has any questions.
So now we fulfill the number 6. Have you found the answer?
I got it wrong.
Yeah, number 6 was journey. First journey. Okay, number 7 was wild.
Yeah, I got it. Well, ocean.
Wild. A little bigger. Wild. Okay, so number 8, the timing was 1:45. 45 p.m. And then the recreation of a new species of dinosaur. Species. And a trip through the desert.
So, Farhad, let's talk about your presentation. You've done a rough outline, so let's go over it, and then you can go away and write it all up.
Sure.
I asked you to choose a topic related to water, and you've chosen desalination, removing salt from seawater. Now, why did you choose that?
Well, I come from the United Arab Emirates, and we have the world's largest desalination plant.
Right, that's very relevant, and I think you should include that, your personal reasons at the start.
Say why I decided on this topic.
Yes, just give a sentence or two. That'll do.
Okay. I thought I should keep the introduction brief.
Yes, but you can say why you like the topic. It's a good choice of topic, very interesting. And then I can follow the introduction easily.
Okay.
Now let's go on to the historical background.
I want to make it clear that seawater purification isn't a new idea.
No, indeed, that's a good point to make.
So I'm going to describe some of the older methods from the past.
I got a bit lost reading your notes here.
Is it too long?
Well, I think the real problem is that the information isn't in any logical order.
I see. Well, it is just notes.
Well, you start in the 18th century, then move to the present day, then go back to the 20th century.
So it needs reorganizing.
Yes, that would help.
Okay, I'll make it clearer. What about the description of the process?
Yes, that looks pretty good to me. But we'll go over it in more detail in a moment.
Okay, I may need to cut it down.
Yes, definitely. It goes on for a long time and gets a bit technical.
Sure. Okay. After the process, I want to talk about the pros and cons of desalination, because that seems to be the big debate.
I totally agree. But you need to sort this section out.
Yes, it is a bit confusing.
I think you should present the main points one at a time.
Okay. What, the advantages and disadvantages?
Yes, and talk about each one individually.
Okay, rather than presenting them all together.
It's hard for your listeners to take in like that. It's all a bit unclear at the moment.
I see.
So, lastly, you conclude that we need to look for alternative ways to remove salt from seawater.
Well, yes. Do you think that's the wrong conclusion?
No, not at all. However, you should tell your audience exactly why you think this.
I will, in the previous section.
But you need to summarize the reasons again in the final part of your presentation.
Oh, I see. Right. I'll mention them briefly then.
Just a list will do. That'll make the conclusion a better length as well.
Okay. Thanks very much, Dr. Tyler.
So the answer is, what's the answer you got?
For number 1, I have A.
A?
Yes, I'm not sure.
No, he was saying, he thought that it needs to be shortened. It is a thought of the student, but the tutor said that you should add, like, why are you doing this? A brief. This will make things clear, So the teachers, so we need to follow the tutor's comment, not the student's comment. So the student wanted to make it short, but tutor said that because he's from United Arab Emirates, so some of his like background can give insightful information. That's why. So add some information. And the background?
The background B?
Yes, B, because the background was somewhat disorganized and it was not following any order. So that was like difficult to follow. Yeah, so description.
Description shorter.
Yeah, shorter because it had too many irrelevant details. So that we write shorter. And advantages and disadvantages.
B. Difficult to follow.
Yes. B. And finally, conclusion.
A needs to be shorter.
A needs to be shorter. Okay, so there was only one wrong. Others you got it correct. Yeah.
Last week, we looked at some of the features of modern houses, and today we're going to turn the clock back and look at traditional house design. I've chosen to start with Samoa, which is part of a group of Polynesian islands in the South Pacific Sea, because the influence of culture and weather on house design is quite clear there. So let's have a look at, first of all, at the overall design of a traditional Samoan house. Now, these days, houses in Samoa have become more modern and are usually rectangular, but traditional designs were round or sometimes they were oval in shape. Here's a picture. This traditional style is still used, often for guest houses or meeting houses, and most Samoan villages have at least one of these buildings. As you can see, there are no walls, so the air circulates freely around the house. Samoa is a place that experiences high temperatures, but the open design of the house also reflects the openness of Samoan society. If the occupants want shelter, there are several blinds made of coconut leaves that can be lowered during rainy or windy weather. Or indeed, the blinds can also be pulled down if people want some privacy. The foundations of the house, that's the part beneath the floor, are raised slightly. In the past, the height was linked to the importance of the occupants, which we'll talk about another time. However, the floor of the house was usually covered with river stones. Today, we have a range of methods for balancing the temperature inside a building, but the stones on the floor of a Samoan home are ideal for cooling the building on hot days. Now, let's have a close look at the roof. This, as you can see in the picture, is dome-shaped and traditionally thatched or covered with leaves from the sugarcane. That's an established crop in Samoa. This was a job for the women, and it involved twisting the leaves and then fastening them with a thin strip of coconut leaf before fixing them to the roof in several layers. Now, the shape of the roof is important. You can see that the sides are quite steep, and that's done so that the rain falls straight to the ground without moisture going through the leaves and causing leaks or dampness inside the house. Then you'll notice how high the top of the roof is. This is a way of allowing heat to rise on sunny days and go through the thatching, thereby cooling the house.
So, how does the house stay upright? Well, there are a number of evenly spaced posts inside. They encircle the interior of the building and go up to the roof and support the beams there. They're also buried, usually about 1.5 meters in the ground to keep them firm. These posts are produced using local timber from the surrounding forests. They're cut by men from the family or village, and the number varies depending on the size and importance of the house. Now, these posts were a very significant part of Samoan culture and did much more than hold up the roof. When there were meetings, people sat with their back to certain posts, depending on their status in society. So there were posts for chiefs, according to their status, and posts for speakers, and so on. And ordinary people sat around the side on mats. Last area I want to look at today is the attachment of the beams and posts, what you call fixing the construction. Traditionally, no nails or screws were used anywhere in such a building. Instead, coconut fibres were braided into rope to fix the beams and posts together. The old people of the village usually made and plaited the rope. This was a lengthy process. An ordinary house used about 40,000 feet of this rope. And as you can see in this picture, the rope was pulled very tightly and wound round the beams and posts in a complex pattern. And in fact, the process of tying it to the beams so that it was tight and strong enough to keep them together is one of the great architectural achievements of Polynesia.
So the number one answer was oval.
Oval. O-V-A-L.
Oval shape. Okay. So oval. Oval shape. Number two.
Blinds.
Yes, blinds. Correct. Blinds. Number three.
Stones.
Yeah, stones or river stones. Okay, stones. Correct. Number four.
Sugar cane.
Okay, sugar cane or sugar cane separately. Or one word, sugar cane. Okay, number five.
I had Steve, but I think it's wrong. S-T-I-F-F.
Oh, yeah, this steep is sloppy. Okay, and that steep is like strong or like, and this steep is like slopes.
Yeah.
Okay. So his misspelling was wrong slightly. Okay, and then permits.
6 is 8. 8 loss.
Yeah, heat loss. Yes, correct. 7.
7 status.
Status, but it says forest. 8 is the status.
Oh, okay. I must have missed it then. Surrounding. I think I have it as surrounding. Okay.
Okay, 8 is status. Show status of chiefs and speakers in the meeting. Yep. Okay, so the supporting posts. So 9.
Old people.
Yeah, old people. Correct. And number 10.
Complex.
Oh no, it has pattern also, because pattern is the main. Form a complex pattern. Complex pattern. You know, pattern is the main word here. Complex is the supporting word. Okay. So yes, you missed 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yeah, no problem. We got 6. Correct.